Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Cooking with Red. I'm Alex, I'm going to be your host today, and today we have a very special guest. Daniela is here joining us, one of our awesome configurators here at Argyle. And today we're going to kind of shake things up a little bit. This is called the leftover edition. So what we're going to do is essentially open up your fridge, see what kind of things might already be lurking in the back of it, to really whip up some gourmet dishes, aka some tools to help make your org even more secure, or even to kind of improve it. So with that, Daniela, do you want to take it away?
Let's go check out what's in our fridge. But just like cooking with leftovers, the first step is knowing what's in your fridge and whether or not it's any good. So here, for example, these are some of the objects and fields that I use every day. They are the staple of my Salesforce instance, so I'm definitely going to use these. This is the reports and dashboards that I use all the time. And this are some yummy leftover security settings. I think we're going to end up with a really good Salesforce org.
So, as Daniela just showed us, we have some really gnarly tools in the back end of your instance that you probably don't even know about that can help optimize it and take it to the next level. One of those being Optimizer. So I'm going to show you what it is, but Optimizer, what it does, it literally will analyze your org and tell you ways you can, surprise, optimize it.
One thing worth noting is that Optimizer only accesses your org's metadata. So you don't need to worry about your data being unprotected or opened up to a third-party app. Optimizer is going to keep everything nice and secure.
Thanks for that, Daniela. So after you run Optimizer, it will take a hot second. So just keep that in mind, depending on the shape and size of your org. But what it will do is it will spit out two different types of results. One, they'll be accessible in the Optimizer app, which we'll show you how to get to in a second. But also, you can download it as a PDF, so you can share with users outside of Salesforce to start potentially with your governing committee or governance committee to start figuring out how you want to start tackling some of these items.
Like the rest of Salesforce, is constantly growing. To see a full list of features evaluated by Optimizer, click on this link, which will list all of the features evaluated in Salesforce Optimizer.
We are going to run Optimizer, and we're going to cover a core, we're going to kind of skim the surface of the topics that it is covered. Some things that are really helpful, like identifying what technical debt you might have in your system, aka inactive sharing rules, workflow rules, and everything in between, just so you can start to clean up that debt and optimize your system. We're also one of the really cool things that comes out of this is it analyzes your field usage. So while it's not looking at your data per se, the raw data that's in your system that Daniela just alluded to, it is going to call out, hey, out of 5 million records, this field's only populated 100 times. I think that begs some question, right? Do you even need that field? What else can we do to build upon it, or just to clean up some page layouts to make it easier for your users? So it will provide those opportunities to do so and have some great conversations around that. Well, to run Optimizer, what you're going to do is we're going to go to Setup. You're going to type in Optimizer into the quick find. We're going to click on here, and essentially it'll bring you to the Setup page. So we'll come in, we're going to click Allow Access. Just agree to the terms that, yep, it's going to go through and analyze your metadata. Just to call out, as we just talked about, right? No customer data that would identify your customers, end users, or anything like that will be shared. Do that. And then we're going to click on Open Optimizer. And then all we're going to do is just click Run Optimizer. Now there's just a couple clicks, so it'll take a hot second. So we'll come back as soon as it's done and review it then.
You can run the report as often as you want to keep on top of maintenance activities. Salesforce recommends running Optimizer as part of your monthly maintenance or at least once a quarter. So do Salesforce a favor, run that Optimizer report at least once a quarter and make sure you know what's in your org. You should also run it before installing any new apps, because you want to make sure that those apps are going to work with what you've already got, and before each Salesforce release. So winter, spring, summer, fall, whenever there's going to be a Salesforce release that's going to affect your org, you really should run Optimizer and make sure that everything is running exactly the way you want it to.
Now we're glimpsing into the future. Our Optimizer has run, and essentially this is the output. So what it's going to do again, it's going to analyze all the metadata, and it's going to spit out kind of these results. There's this very handy Optimizer app that you can access. And what will happen is I can go through and it's going to immediately call out, hey, here's what the review, things that you need to pay attention to, right? It's calling it out first and foremost. It's also very helpful because it will tell you, we think this is in the 2-hour range, or if it's like a very quick under 30 minutes ballpark, just so you can plan accordingly and start to come up with your release schedule to mitigating these fixes. So what happens if I look at this? Now, if I go into unused reports, for example, I'm going to split it automatically. It's using the Service Console app. And it's going to say, hey, you have one report that you're not using. Do you need to keep it? And it's going to outline, here's all the data, here's the related pieces it's going to call out what you need to review for you. And then you can go through and either delete them or decide what action is required for these results. It's one of my favorite tools that I feel like is undervalued across the org. The same thing here. It does have a series of types. So like my unassigned custom profiles. Hey, it's just, again, a good inflection point to identify, do we need to keep it or not? So again, it's so easy to run. It will take a little bit to actually run in the background, right? You click the button and then it could take upwards of a couple hours. If you have a monstrous org, it might take the full 24 hours. But essentially, once it's done, fully recommend coming in, analyzing it, looking at those that have the status of review required, and then taking action or deciding what the best action is for your org. As we alluded to earlier, you can run this auto-magically, my favorite words, in the back end on a monthly basis. So feel free to do that just so you're keeping up to date with really optimizing your org.
So we've taken those leftovers, and from that, we've made a gourmet meal. I'm going to go eat lunch. See you guys later.
Me too. Thanks again for joining us, guys. Have some good grub. Have some fun cooking up some leftovers, and we'll see you next time.